Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whichever the case may be. You are now listening to Diminishing Returns. This week, we go way back to 2017 to look at the LEGO Batman movie, and look ahead to the new Ninjago movie. What is a Ninjago? We have yet to find out, but we have no doubt that all our ideas for LEGO spin-offs will be far superior. Stay tuned to find out. This week's episode contains spoilers for the LEGO Batman movie, the LEGO Movie, Team America World Police, and Bugsy Malone. Enjoy!
Lego. Speaking of Lego, I'm just gonna build myself a team of co-hosts for today's Diminishing Returns. Ugh. Oh, right. I'll get some. I'll get some really old Lego bricks over here for to build a crotchety old one. Oh, these bricks don't even fit with my newer bricks. They're so old. Oh, and none of them are licensed or anything. These ones are boring. But there we go. There's Alan, made out of Lego.
Hello, Lego fans.
It's Lego Alan, everyone. And these, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore because the teeth don't look like they used to, apparently. So I don't know what I'm building. So I've made a kind of misshapen Lego Calvin over here,
but with perfect teeth, courtesy of Invisalign. Thank you.
And I'm not made of Lego because I'm the child playing. What is this intro? What am I doing, guys? Help!
I don't know. Do you want to start again?
I don't think you're a master builder.
So what are we doing? We're doing the Lego Batman movie.
Yes.
This week.
Yes.
Spin-off of the Lego movie, but we're saving that for the upcoming but repeatedly delayed true sequel, Lego movie sequel, whatever they're calling it.
So why are we looking at the Lego Batman movie now? What's the
Alan, perhaps you could explain this one to us.
Well, it's something called a Ninjago Lego Movie, and I don't know what it is, or what even the concept. Something to do with ninjas, I guess. Lego ninjas, I'm assuming.
Is that
it?
It's Ninjago, isn't it? Not Ninjago.
It's Ninjago.
It's Ninjago,
right.
Yeah.
Is that German, is it?
It's one word, though, not two,
It's
right?
like Lego and Ninja smushed into one word.
So it is Lego Ninjas, then. I guessed correctly.
Yes.
I think basically, yeah. Do either of you know anything about Ninjago?
No.
Okay, well, I probably should have done some more research.
I thought this was your choice. This is why I didn't look at anything. I thought, Sol's going to talk us through everything.
Okay, my understanding is that, before... So when we were kids, Lego didn't do, like, Lego Star Wars and Lego Scooby-Doo.
Well, they did do Star
Wars.
Did. They did. Yeah, I've got a couple of Lego pod racers back up in the attic at home, and
oh, okay.
Yeah, but when it did only become a thing within the last 10 years or so, because now like they license anything like Harry Potter, or
I was gonna say,
Back to the Future,
yeah.
Ghostbusters, like everything you can get Lego now. I think it might have just been a special Star Wars thing back in the day.
I had a big box of Mega Bloks, so I wouldn't know.
Oh, see, I played with Lego quite a lot when I was a kid, but
I had a big box of like 50% Mega Bloks, 50% Lego.
Oh,
just kind of mixed in.
I hated
That's
that.
disgusting.
Yeah, no, it was like every now and then I would play with my toys and have like a special crossover where the Pokemon figures and the Transformers and the Lego would all have an adventure together. But you had to contrive a reason for that. There had to be some sort of wormhole open up to allow the toys to travel into another toy's dimension.
What's wrong with you?
And then we had to explain the size differences because Ash Ketchum was about twice the size of Luke Skywalker, and yeah.
And being from another dimension wasn't enough of a justification for that.
No.
See, when I was a kid, we used to rattle sticks against fences. We'd push a tire down a hill. It was great.
We went to like this really steep hill, and then like the stupidest kid would be like, I'm gonna bodyboard down it, and we'd get a big plank of wood, and they'd like nail a bit of rope to it for them to hold on to, and then they'd sort of end up like really hurting their leg.
Oh, is that why you got that scar?
We used like building dams. We covered this in our.
We did that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was such a great thing, building a dam. I never see children building
fucking
dams
love building
anymore.
a dam.
It was brilliant, wasn't it?
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could go out and do it now, but it's a bit like you have to find somewhere that you can do it that's also not busy, because it's weird if a grown adult is doing it.
That's why I tried to if you can sort of like sit by a stream or something and just sort of subtly throw stones in it, like, and look like you're just doing it casually and just like not paying attention, when really you're like thinking, all right, then this one's going to make a nice, this one's going to get in that groove pretty good and kind of backlog a lot of good water now.
Like Lego.
Like Lego!
Rocks.
Yes, brilliant. So, Lego. Alan, did you play with it when you were a kid?
We had a big tub of it, like all just like mixed up.
Hang on.
Like not mixed
Tim
up
Curry's
with other...
clown from last week's episode.
Yeah, a big tub of it. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's terrifying.
No, we had a big tub of Lego that wasn't like in any sets or anything. It was just all a jumble of pieces. So we were very much free creative thinkers when it came to building in Lego. But I much prefer having rules and a set and a function.
I had one Lego character in particular that I like played with incessantly, and that was my Lego guy, and I'd build everything around him and play like with Lego with him as like the protagonist, and that was one of those skeleton Lego pieces. But I also had a top hat from another set, so I put that on him, so he was a skeleton in a top hat, and it was brilliant. I now see they sell fucking skeleton in top hat like sets. So what's that about?
I don't think you were the only child to have ever put a top hat on a skeleton Lego.
The Lego skeleton top hat's slightly different though. I think it's got some stripes on it or something. Mine was just a plain top hat. It was brilliant.
I had my
my skeleton was from the ancient Egypt set as well.
Those were my favourite ones. My main character was that Indiana Jones, Brendan Fraser sort of knockoff from that ancient Egyptian one, and then he had his sort of like swashbuckling pirate woman sidekick, and they had will they, won't they, and then there was like a wizard that came around with them, and yeah.
Did you have a ruby piece?
Yes, I had several.
How good was that piece?
That piece was like amazing.
It was like, oh, I've got a fucking ruby.
Did you have that set where it was like a sphinx and that you could put the pharaoh behind the ruby and then flick a switch and the pharaoh came jumping out and the ruby went flying and it was like, oh...
God, no, that was a big set. That was expensive.
It wasn't that big. It wasn't the biggest... It was probably the biggest set I had, maybe. But, yeah...
No, I only had like tiny little Lego sets with like
maybe
a vehicle and a character.
No toys for Sol. Just a small Lego set and an orange for Christmas.
Staves off scurvy.
So anyway, I guess we've all played with Lego at some point in our childhoods.
What I was leading to was that in my youth, other than Star Wars, I suppose, branded like cross-promotional Lego wasn't really the done thing. But Lego did start all these weird spin-off franchises. So there was Bionicle, which was Lego Technic, I believe. That was like a spin-off of a spin-off. Did you ever get into Bionicle, Calvin?
Yeah, I had a few. Yeah, that was more sort of older Lego, wasn't it? I suppose, like just when you were teenage Lego or something, I don't know.
But there were things like that, and I think one of the little offshoot things they did was Ninjago, which was the ninja theme, and it struck a chord with people. I think, to be honest, I think Ninjago might be a bit after our time, but it was before the branding kicked off, I think. So they made some straight-to-video Lego Ninjago movies. There might have been a TV series. There might have been some video games. So it's more of an established franchise, and the idea of making a film of it isn't as weird as making the initial Lego movie was.
Okay. Because, to me it's like... I didn't know for certain that there'd been straight-to-video movies of Ninjago, but I was certainly aware of it in some capacity. So I just assumed it had been around for a while.
Yeah, I only know of this because they are throwing the continuity established out. They're rebooting it, so it's part of this new LEGO movie series, and I think some of the fans of the original series are upset about that. But it's like as if they're going to carry over the continuity from some little straight-to-video DVDs.
Sonic's arms are blue!
It was inevitable that they were going to start from scratch with it, I think. And
no, I mean, yeah, but just to add to what you were saying, I think now whenever I'm in like a toy shop, I'm not often in a toy shop, but in windows and things, it's if I see Lego there.
Calvin, how often are you in a toy shop?
Well, I was.
Let's be honest here.
Sometimes I like to go and see if they've got like a C-3PO action figure that I really like and might want. I bought a Rita Repulsa action figure a while ago. Anyway, whenever I go in and see like a Lego section, it is primarily sort of licensed Lego. Like Lego Batman and Lego Star Wars are huge things, and there's always some kind of tie-in somewhere. But yeah, Lego Batman is a huge deal. It's been running for a few years, and I guess the character sort of broke out of the Lego movie and was a bit of a scene stealer there. But Lego Batman is played by Will Arnett.
Much like Ninjago, I believe Lego Batman again had some straight-to-video movies and certainly some video games.
Yeah, I've seen some
prior
games.
To the Lego movie. In fact, I think it was the video games that then got spin-off DVD movies off the back of the games. Yeah, and I think they did always envision the Lego movie series as being this sort of, cinematic universe thing with different Lego movies all over the place and stuff. I don't think it was like an afterthought, like, Batman's done well. I think they kind of went into it like, we'll make this, then we'll make a Batman Lego thing, then we'll do a Ninja Lego thing, then we'll do, like, right now they're making something called the Billion Brick Race or something. And there's the proper Lego movie sequel in development, but I don't know where they are with that. The director got fired recently, so it's a shame actually, because that director was the only reason I was interested in it. But I suppose we'll save that for the episode we do tying into that.
Yeah.
Anyway, the film. So it's made of Lego. This film.
Is it? I thought it was computer animation, which I was very disappointed about.
I know
when
it's
found
not
about
actually
the,
stop-start animation.
Yeah, but isn't that disappointing?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, realistically...
No, I know. I that was one of my biggest complaints about the Lego movie when it came out. And I made my peace with it by the time this film came along. But it was the fact that it wasn't stop-start animated. And to give them credit, like, it looks almost photorealistic. Like,
it's astonishingly good.
Yeah, but at the same time, there is a real lack of charm that comes from it, and it's so, like, I don't know, it just feels like you're cheating if you're going to have elements like bubblegum or whatever, chewing gum making their way in as extra little things, or in the trailer for the Ninjago movie, if you guys have seen that, there's a real life cat at one point shows up, and as long there's water and stuff as well, but like they summon a great evil beast and it's just a cat. It's like Team America when they set the pumas on them at the end. Which, I like that, but at the same time, it just feels a bit like cheating. So I agree, is basically what I'm saying. But then some of the animation is so big and elaborate that I think they probably would just say, well, we simply couldn't do something on this scale. Certainly in the Lego movie. But as I say, we're probably going to do the Lego movie at a later date, and so we'll skip that and focus on the spin-off, the Lego Batman movie, which really does stand separate from that film.
Very much.
It's much. I mean, obviously, you've got Batman to play with, but it's a Batman film, really, rather than a Lego movie film.
Yeah.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, in fact, that was one of my thoughts on the film as a whole, where the Lego movie, it does really embrace the fact that it's Lego. That's kind of central to the whole theme of it. It's not just a gimmick; it is the whole point.
Oh yeah.
Whereas in this, it is just a gimmick. It's just a visual style. And that disappointed me to some extent, to be honest with you. But that was made up for the fact that it's a really good Batman film. Well, a kind of a very sort of gentle parody, and I mean gentle in the sense that it's obviously made by people who love the source material.
It's really a real love letter to Batman. That's the thing.
And Batman of all eras as well, which I loved. It was as much Batman, like Adam West Batman, as animated Batman, and Tim Burton Batman, Christopher Nolan. I really appreciated how they just ran the gamut with it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've spoken many times off the show, and I think on the show, of our love of the Condiment King and the Clock King.
Yes,
and the fact that they make cameos in this film.
I loved it.
Just sums up the level of Bat fandom, I guess they're kind of playing to. It's it never felt exclusive. Like, I don't think anyone coming into it without that in-depth knowledge of Batman would have been put off by it. Yeah, no. Definitely not. Because they were just throwaway jokes that worked. I mean, the joke, that particular joke, is he just lists a load of absurd Batman villains, and then he says, like, these are all real, by the way, go and look them up or something. So, like, people like us are just giddy to be seeing those characters for the first time in forever, and other people are just laughing at it and going, what, really? No. But, yeah, I mean, I really like this film, the Lego Batman movie. I wasn't a big fan of the Lego Movie, which I know is sacrilege of a kind, and people get very upset, but it just didn't do it for me, but I'll go into that at a later date. But this film, for me, was basically everything that I wanted from that film. It was genuinely funny and, like I say, a genuine love letter to all the franchises being, like, pulled in, and to be fair, it does kind of recycle elements of the plot, but I suppose the Batman aesthetic did a lot to make it work. The music was more Batman-y instead of this
the music's great.
Yeah, instead of this Mark Mottersbaugh Devo electronica, and I really enjoyed it. Thought it was great.
I hadn't seen it until watching it for this recording, but I really enjoyed this. I thought it was very funny, loving parody. I liked when things went crazy at the end and all these different characters, different villains from different Warner Brothers properties all came in, and that added an extra layer to it. Because in like one of the very first action sequences, they bring in like pretty much every Batman villain that has ever existed, and I'm sort of like, how are they going to top this for the ending? And they do.
Well, this is the thing. I've heard a lot of people be quite disparaging about it, and I don't really get what their problem is, but I'm sure Alan will offer us some insight now.
No, I enjoyed it. I was fine with it. I mean, it didn't push my buttons quite the same way because I'm not such a huge sort of
nerd.
I'm not as knowledgeable about the fan stuff, like all that history and the context. But like for me, it sort of all fell into just action nonsense by the end, and I kind of got a bit bored. But I enjoyed the film. But for me, the real winning point of the whole thing is that it gets more into the character of Batman and deeper into that and more subversive about that whole character than any other Batman film.
Yeah.
In a way that they should be doing in proper Batman films, but they don't. And yet still manages to maintain a proper action film with decent villains, decent sidekicks. So it didn't do that at the expense of everything else. But it's just, why can't they do that with a real Batman film?
No, I agree. I would say it's quite possibly the most three-dimensional portrayal of Batman on screen to date, which is absurd to think about because it's not like a particularly deep look at the character. He's, stupid, played for laughs, but there's a real emotional core to this film that I wasn't expecting, and it's one that it's very much born out of Batman. Yes, he's heightened for comedic effect and played in a silly way, but he's not just a completely different character that they're calling Batman, which is sort of what I expected in a lot of ways.
Well, I think it's quite telling that, just to go back to what you were saying about the emotional resonance in the story, like I got very nervous when Lego Batman's in his manor and he's looking at a picture of his family and he's reminiscing about his mum and dad. I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake, not again.
Same thing here, yeah.
Batman v Superman, and I was just like, oh god, but they didn't like cut to the rainy alleyway where they get shot or anything like that. It was very much kept in the background. And
they missed a visual gag there, which I'm sure they considered, of just having the kind of Lego necklace shatter on the ground as it falls.
But I was happy that they stayed away from that, because how many times do you have to see Batman's parents?
I know.
Get shot?
I think we speak about it in our Batman episode we did, but
yeah,
I'm done with that scene. I never need to see a take on that scene again.
Yeah. Do you want to know one of my sort of bigger complaints about the film?
Yeah.
And you can disagree with me, tell me if I'm wrong in being old and a fuddy-duddy, but the pacing for me was just a bit too quick, and I don't know if it felt that way because this is a Lego thing, so there's so much detail in the design work, and there's so much going on, so many characters coming in, that I kind of just wanted the pace to slow down every now and then and let me take in a shot or a scene.
This was one of my biggest complaints with the Lego Movie. That it just overwhelmed the senses to the point that I didn't care anymore. Like, just explosions everywhere, like huge scale stuff, but it's too much, and it stopped being interesting. And I think this film scaled that back significantly to the point that I could actually focus on everything and care about it. But I do think it would have benefited from maybe 10 minutes extra just to flesh a few bits out and let them be not quite so lightning paced. So I do agree with you.
What I did like about the pacing wise was when they had that moment quite in the beginning to show Batman's loneliness, where he's literally just stood in front of the microwave and it's just silent. It's like the Scruffy the janitor moment where it's just, it went on for so long. It was
they did stop for but whenever they did stop, it was always for a gag. Like, we're supposed to be laughing at the pause rather than taking something in. Because I think the production design is fantastic, and there's so much detail in it. There's so much to take in. I think the cinematography is wonderful. It is a visual feast. But I just wish it slowed down every now and then to
Does it count as cinematography if it's animated?
Oh.
I mean, it definitely does if it's stop-start, because you're using a real camera. But
I mean, there's certainly a director of photography.
Is there?
Well, yeah, I mean, someone's got to like the scenes.
Aren't they called something different, though? Like director of animation or something?
Yeah, let me have a look. I'm probably using wrong terminology.
I'm not trying to diminish at all from the amount of work that goes into making an animated film, I should add. I'm just interested to know if the terminology is slightly different.
Yeah.
It's all computers, though, isn't it? Nobody does anything anymore. You just type in Batman fights Joker, and then it does it automatically, doesn't it?
Maybe they don't have No, I guess they've got visual effects people. I guess they've got specific people for the lighting and whatever. I guess there isn't necessarily just one cinematographer. Anyway, even if there wasn't a cinematographer, I think the cinematography, whether it was the result of one person or many people, is really lovely and consistently held together. I think it's very good.
Yeah,
I think it's brilliant. Would you think it'll be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Animated Film?
Not a chance, no. The Lego Movie wasn't, which
it wasn't, was
a
it?
huge surprise, because as much as I didn't think it deserved one, everyone loved it, and if you were going purely off general consensus of everyone, like, it should have been a front runner to even win the thing, potentially. But then, having said that, wasn't How to Train Your Dragon snubbed, but How to Train Your Dragon 2 nominated?
I don't know, I can't remember.
They do things like that at the Oscars all the time.
Well, that's just it. Every now and then you sort of think, like, it didn't surprise me on paper that they wouldn't nominate the Lego Movie, because just by virtue of being called the Lego Movie, it's a blatant sort of promotional tie-in. Oscars likes to think of itself as above sequels and that sort of thing, just prostituting the art for commerce. But at the same time, they're going to nominate Jimmy Neutron.
Well, that was the first year of it as well. I think they were finding their feet with how it all worked then. I mean, the thing is, the Lego Batman movie, it's that times two. It's a whole new level of like commerce and, like you say, just whoring out the art form. And I mean, that's one thing. Like, I still can't quite get over it, but like, it hurt my head when I was in the cinema to think that I was watching a feature film adaptation of, or rather a feature film spin-off of a feature film adaptation of a toy that was branded with a comic book character, and made heavy use of other film properties. It was the weirdest thing to kind of.
Yeah.
I'm too old for this. Like, I'm sure kids nowadays are going to grow up just expecting everyone to pop up in every film ever made, and everything to cross over with everything. But in my day, a crossover was a rare thing.
Well, yeah,
come up with some good reason for it, like an interdimensional thing, and then you have to explain the size difference.
Well, that's a good thing about Lego. You can cross over different franchises, but they're all sort of in Lego form.
And I think the one, like Alan, you kind of said the Lego element here is arbitrary, but I think the fact that it is a big crossover event and it plays that up more than its predecessor, that's part of it. Because certainly nowadays, with all this branded Lego, kids are playing with all the, the Scooby-Doo Lego and the SpongeBob Lego and the pulled out two of the least popular lines that they do there, but they play with those and smush them up, and I'm sure it's just par for the course now. And you've got things like Lego Dimensions, the video game, which is just like you've got Lego Sonic and Lego Doctor Who and just everything. So it kind of feels like a real celebration of what Lego has become almost as well. I did think it was quite true to...
I mean, it wasn't that aspect that annoyed me. The aspect that annoyed me that felt shoehorned in because for the sake of Lego is when they drop in the... Because I'd forgotten from the Lego movie that Batman is established as a master builder.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of points where he's like falling down a side of a building or something, and he has to put together this like panther thing out of Lego. And that felt really shoehorned in.
I didn't mind that. That to me, that felt like there's this history of bat vehicles that they wanted to give their due, much like they gave all these villains their due at the start and stuff. To me, that just felt like they were shoehorning those in. So I was kind of okay with it within the context of a Batman celebration.
So, are they going to make any more of these? Is there talk of Lego Batman sequels?
I remembered reading that they had announced a Lego Batman 2.
Ah.
I mean, if they hadn't, I'd put money on it happening.
Yeah, well, this one was a big success, and everyone seemed to like it. It was received very well, from what I understand.
If not a Lego Batman 2, then a Lego Batman v Superman or something of that nature. But I definitely think they'll continue this.
I think it's been done now. The sensible sort of creative thing to do would be to walk away, but obviously commercial thing to do is...
What I'll say is the love letter to Batman has been told, but that doesn't mean they couldn't do a Lego Justice League in the same way and kind of carry it on that way. But I think it's just about finding, and I'm sure they could make a good Lego Batman 2, but I agree that this is a celebration of Batman, and it's... I see where you're coming from, Alan, because the idea of let's do a big comedy celebration of Batman is done now, but whatever. I'd be more excited to see another Lego Batman than the Lego Ninjago movie.
What is Ninjago? I mean, none of us know, do we? It's something to do with ninjas and Lego.
Have you seen the trailer?
No.
Okay, right. There's some kid called Lloyd.
He sounded really upset that Solid even suggested he might.
There's a kid called Lloyd, and
it's called Lloyd.
Well, his dad named him Lloyd, and he calls himself Lloyd. And
did he have a stammer? Is that the joke?
No, it's because Lloyd's spelt with 2 L's.
Yeah, it's pronounced Lloyd.
Yeah, but and he's like, Dad, my name's Lloyd, and he's like, no, it's Lloyd. I named you. Look at your birth certificate. It's Lloyd.
Okay, well, I can see they're going to get a lot of traction out of that joke. So what's next?
Yeah. So
is that all that's in the trailer? Just him.
Well, basically, it's just his dad's the big evil ninja magic guy. He ends up in some kind of ninja club with a load of other ninja characters, and they are presumably the Ninjago, who are assembled by a kind of old sensei kind of guy voiced by Jackie Chan.
Of course.
And they presumably have to, have a big fight with the bad guy and save the day. And
yeah, I'm looking at some of the sets on Google. It sort of looks like pagodas and sort of like Chinese-looking buildings, and then there's the occasional sort of big robot animal.
Ninja's Japanese.
Oh, okay then. Yes, Japanese. Oh, wait a minute. I don't know.
Yeah, Ninja are Japanese.
Jackie Chan isn't Japanese.
No, I think Ninjago is going
does it?
for a kind of
Pan-Asian.
Just generic. Let's smush them all together. I mean, that was something that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. Actually, the very first time I watched the trailer for this, the protagonist is this Ninjago thing. It's going for this Asian aesthetic, and yet the protagonist is a blonde kid. I'm assuming voiced by a white kid. Obviously, he's yellow, and LEGO have been very clever insofar as they don't really have ethnicities, the LEGO characters. They're all yellow. Because Kumail Nanjiani, who is he's Pakistani, voices one of the fellow Ninjago in the film, and he's, yellow like the other kid. So they could just be like, what are you talking about? He's black, but he's a LEGO man. You're racist. We don't see colour at LEGO.
They do different coloured skin in the LEGO Batman movie, don't they? Jim Gordon is sort of black, and
of course,
Barbara Gordon. But then I think some LEGO sets do sort of like a pinky, like more realistic skin tones, whereas traditional LEGO is yellow. I know in Star Wars, like in the old Star Wars sets that I've got, everyone's yellow, and then I look at the new ones, and they're all like Caucasian coloured or.
Oh God, that's
black.
weird. Oh, I don't.
It is very odd. I prefer it when they just stick to it. Yeah.
LEGO people are yellow. That's be like having that's awful.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure when that happened, when that decision was made, because like I say, in my old Star Wars sets, that's not the case. But yeah.
So, as someone who is like too old and grumpy to appreciate the idea of more LEGO Batman films, Alan.
Sorry, I think he said he liked it, didn't he?
Yeah, but he said they shouldn't make any more, and that should be the end of it.
Oh right, okay.
So, how would you do more if you had to?
Well, the way to go is just if you can do a Lego Batman, and it's not relevant that it's Lego, you're just ripping off Batman. Then just do it with other properties. So you could do Lego Superman or whatever. So I've decided to go with Lego James Bond. Because I don't know enough about Superman. I don't really know that much about James Bond either, but it had to be something big. That
you know a lot about the first 5 films, I think you'll find, Alan.
Well,
not in-depth discussions.
And I thought I'd try and stick with what Lego Batman did, in which it's like a friendly subversion of the subject matter.
I mean, I can't believe there hasn't been a definitive James Bond parody at this point.
Are you being sarcastic? Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, has there been a definitive James Bond parody? There's about 20 that I could rattle off.
Well, don't rattle them off yet, because I'm going to bring them up later.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I mean, we're doing one of them in about 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to come up. Okay, so my plot, in a similar vein to the Lego Batman, we're just going to take Bond as the character, have a bit of fun with it. You'd have to get a proper fan to write it.
Me?
Yeah, Calvin could write it. Are you funny enough, Calvin?
What?
Are you funny enough? Or would you?
Oh, no.
Do you love
Calvin,
it too
give us
much?
an example of just some dialogue between Lego James Bond and
Lego Moneypenny.
I think I had a head when I came in.
Oh, give that man the $1 million. Go away and write the script.
Genius. Okay. So the plot I'm going to create is that we're going to use the hypothesis, and the one that's absolutely factual that we all know is correct, the codename theory, The
What's wrong with that, Calvin? Why you...
We're going to talk about that when we get to On Her Majesty's Secret Service in great detail.
Yes, because
save it for
we'll
that.
be doing our next Bond film on the slate is On Her Majesty's Secret Service, in which we have a new Bond. Obviously, it's a new character completely. They're just using the code name of James Bond,
as everyone knows.
Everyone knows that. So the theory, the plot that we're working is that there's a new Bond coming in. He's a good agent, and they've decided to promote him because Craig Bond is having to retire because he's got dodgy knees or something. Can't do it anymore. Can't keep up with it. He's about 54. He's just too old. Let him go, for God's sake. But anyway, he's having to retire. So obviously, the first thing for this new guy to do, he has to train up to be a proper 00 agent. So he shadows Craig Bond on a mission. While he's there, he's like asking him loads of questions, like, "Oh, why do you do that? Oh, why did you sleep with her? Why did you kill that guy?" And then make a crappy pun about it. Although Craig Bond doesn't really do that, does he? Anyway, so then by doing that, we can start like having this person like asking the questions, and in doing so, we'll be kind of subverting what Bond is by making him confront a lot of the things he does. Does that make sense? And obviously, you do this light-heartedly. It's all supposed to be fun. And also, we could have like the gadgets and the cars and stuff like that. I think that'll render really well in Lego because you could have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that they haven't done any James Bond Lego stuff recently. Someone did once mock up like 3 Lego James Bond sets online, like the boxes and whatnot, and did like the Aston Martin and all that. It looked really good. Anyway.
So, eventually Daniel Craig Bond gets sick of all these questions of this guy asking him all sorts of stuff, and so he decides the best way to introduce this guy to the world of Bond is to get all the old Bonds together and have a big meeting, chat. They probably do this every now and then anyway, just have a little reunion, drink some martinis and all that sort of thing. So they do that. We have a big meet up, and so this is your big moment, right? You've got all the Bonds together. Craig, Brosnan, the Welsh one, Moore, Connery, the other one, all of them there. And all of these Bonds will be voiced by Steve Coogan.
Steve Coogan?
Yeah, he does. He has to do all of them.
That'd be pretty good, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd like that.
We have them all together, and the main plot kicks in because at this point, a group of bad guys, they found out that all the Bonds are together, and so they're going to try and wipe them out all at once. Now, these bad guys will be Austin Powers, Colin Firth off of Kingsman, Johnny English, Woody Allen, who else?
Man from U.N.C.L.E. The guy from Get Smart, Steve Carell.
Sean Connery's brother.
Yes, Neil Connery.
Yeah, but all your so that's going to be your bad guy cabal, like all the Bond rip-offs, or
Brilliant.
Not necessarily rip-offs, but
Can we have Sean Connery from Never Say Never Again also in the unofficial Bond film?
I think he should be part of the Bond club, but they all take the piss, and like Aquaman in the Justice League in the Batman movie, that sort of like.
Well, I was trying to think of ways to incorporate the Lego elements of it. So yeah, other things I thought you could have one of the Bonds has to disguise himself as a Japanese fisherman. But he could literally take his head off and put on a Japanese head. But we've just discussed they don't have different heads, so that doesn't work. What about if Bond doesn't like a brunette woman, so he just pops her hair off, puts some blonde hair on, boom, he likes blondes, something like that?
I don't think he's that picky, really.
I pop the whole head off repeatedly and swap him out for someone else altogether halfway through. Why stop at the hair,
Only with a clawed hand.
Yes, I mean we physically can't form fists.
That's probably for the best. Oh yeah, get some of the sidekicks back in. Could you have like a Lego Jaws? That sort of thing. That render well in Lego. I don't know. He's just slightly taller than all the other Lego things. Are they all the same size, Lego people?
Yeah, no.
Mostly, yeah.
They have little children Lego now who have sort of slightly smaller legs.
Oh yeah, and speaking of the different blocks and stuff, because this fight is all about the Bond rip-offs trying to get rid of Bond so that they can be the main thing. So all the villains could be made of other blocks, whatever the rival toy brick things are
like
these days.
Playmobil or something.
Yeah. So like the bad guys are one thing, and then all your good guys are Lego. And then you could, I don't know if you get away with that, like in terms of lawsuits, if you're portraying your rivals as sort of villains. That's it, really. I mean, the whole thing. If it ended in a volcano, that'd be great. You could have like Lego lava,
or you could have real lava melting the bricks. Not real lava, but like like a hot plate, and all the Legos melting on the hot plate, or a George Foreman grill. Yeah, imagine a villain and he traps Bond in the George Foreman grill with his head poking out at the bottom. And then he turns it on to like heat up with Lego James Bond in there.
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to fry.
And, then he walks off to leave him to die, and his what would he do? Would he like pop his head off and kind of roll it over and I don't know, something like that? And then he's got a gadget that Q gave him that will like build him a spare body if he needs it. So he presses that with his tongue. And
that's something that they never really do in the Lego movies, is it? Unless I'm forgetting something. They never like pop off their own heads and like stay sentient while they do it. It is curious. I suppose they need to give it some sense of tangibility and stakes. Like we have to actually care if they live or die, and not just even if they break up, like who gives a shit.
There was in the Lego movie right at the beginning, he falls down a mine shaft to discover the sacred thing or whatever it is, and as he's falling, he's like bashing, and his body falls apart, but then sort of falls back together again and stuff like that. So it's definitely kind of plausible that they do. So anyway, that's it, and they win, and then at the end, the new Bond takes his place as the new James Bond, the new 007. And of course, the person you get to voice that character would be the person who's going to be the new Bond after Craig. And so you would release this film in like 2021 or whatever. And this is like the official announcement of the new Bond is by putting him in this film.
No, I think you want someone like Jim Parsons from The Big Bang Theory playing the new one. Though I guess he could just be the next James Bond and it'd all work out fine.
It could be Gillian Anderson just to really annoy everyone.
Yeah. Well, Alan, you've put my pitch to shame because you've actually come up with a plot.
Yeah, okay.
My pitch is Lego Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
That's it.
Makes sense.
They do it. They already make that.
Okay,
exactly.
Good.
That's the next one you pick out for your film.
And the plot is...
Where
does the Lego come
So, all right, so they go to find the lost city of Atlantis, and Helena Bonham Carter plays the Prime Minister of Atlantis. I mean, it's the same thought process of yours, Alan.
Yeah.
Except, to be honest, I think with Pirates of the Caribbean, you could play it a bit less parodic, whatever the word would be there. You don't have to make it as much of a parody. Like, you could basically get away with making Pirates of the Caribbean 6, put a few more jokes in there, trim the running time in half, but essentially just make another swashbuckling adventure with Captain Jack Sparrow. And
do you get Johnny Depp in to do it?
Maybe not, actually.
Just to piss him off.
Well, he's fallen out of favour with people a bit lately, hasn't he? Maybe you want to set up a kind of new Pirates thing to take over in case you can't get any more stuff out of him.
Okay, so you've got Lego Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
I think that would work with his physicality. Like, his head could pop off. It'd be quite funny.
Yeah. And they could hang out with that Lego skeleton they meet along the way, and he puts on a top hat.
But the rendering of water in the world of Lego is not particularly excellent. So,
well, in the upcoming Ninjago movie, they're making a distinction between the other Lego films and this one, insofar as this has real, animated to look real water, animated to look real sand,
fire,
possibly. I don't know. There's certainly. They're making a point of using a few real-life kind of elements in there, not things made out of Lego, which I guess will give it a nice visual change. I think it'll just generally look nicer. And I think that, the idea is, this kid's playing with real water in his Lego. I don't know how they'd want to do it. They'd probably want just Lego Sea, but real-looking water might be better, particularly if you want to go, like, underwater at some point, which is bound to happen.
Sure. How do you get a plastic face to convincingly portray the range of Orlando Bloom?
Well, to be honest, I wasn't planning to put Orlando Bloom in it. Cut that character altogether because it's impossible. You couldn't possibly do him justice.
Yeah.
Keira Knightley too. Actually, they can have cameos at the start.
That could be. You could have them as the. It's like in Team America, or like that sort of thing where they have that fake out beginning where you just have like a real plastic Lego like going, "Oh, Orlando Bloom, I love you. Oh, I love you, Keira Knightley. Kissy, kissy, kissy." And then it like fades back and is a kid playing whatever. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Because then they would just literally be static plastic.
That's the point, though. Who would you have voicing Lego Orlando Bloom and Lego Keira Knightley?
Could we do it in India? It'd probably work out cheaper. Just use Indians. Like when.
What do you mean?
Like when you do, like when they farm out, like call centers to India.
So
just get a voice actors
to the film, and then like Jack Sparrow opens his mouth, and it's this kind of bad connection. Hello,
my name is Jack Sparrow. How can I help you today?
Oh god,
that would be a real avant-garde way of voicing an animation, wouldn't it? Actually, that's quite like that. Just voice it with
recordings
of call center workers.
So yeah.
Right. Okay. So Calvin, give us your pitch.
Right. Well, my pitch is basically to recreate a film, do a bit of a Gus Van Sant Psycho thing.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I was going to do Lego Psycho. And just do a shot-for-shot remake. But then, of course, I remembered that Lego is a Warner Brothers only thing, so we must only, deal with Warner Brothers properties. So I thought a Lego Godfather would be a good.
Is the Godfather Warner Brothers?
Yes. Oh shit! No, it's Paramount. Oh. Oh crap! Well, you know what set me off on this, because my pitch ends with like all the famous like Warner Brothers gangster guys coming in, like James Cagney and Edward G. Robinson, Ray Liotta, and because I thought, obviously The Godfather's Warner Brothers because it's like the biggest mafia gangster film there is. No, it's fucking Paramount. Oh shit! I've got no pitch. I'm sick of this.
We're just
going home.
Oh god.
No, we'll cut the intro.
Right, I'm going.
Just say you want to do.
Right. He's walked out in shame.
Anyway, so Calvin, have you had time to adjust your intro
without The Godfather being Warner Brothers?
Yes, I'm going to
just work out the rights with Paramount and do the quote unquote greatest film ever made in Lego.
I'm going to do the Lego Goodfellas.
That's good. Goodfellas is a much better film than The Godfather. So
I've never seen it. What happens? I should have just done Lego Psycho. That would have been. I was thinking about that, and I was thinking like, oh yeah, because we can do the murder scenes, all the bits of Lego flying off them and stuff. My plan was just to take the audio from The Godfather and just reanimate the entire film, do a proper Gus Van Sant, and just remake it exactly. Except at the end of the film, we have a big fight pie throwing sequence in which Edward G. Robinson and James Cagney and Bugsy Malone, yes, and all these other famous gangster people come
Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster's going to be in there. So this is show business.
Ray Winston from Sexy Beast, can he be in it?
It's a bit too British.
Yeah, he's a British gangster, though, isn't he? That's all right.
What about Bob Hoskins?
Are we just casting all dead actors? Or...
I think everyone in they are all dead, aren't they? Jodie Foster's still alive.
Oh, yeah, bless her.
Is Diane Keaton? Yeah, Diane Keaton's alive. James Caan? Anyway.
I mean, all the big ones are still alive. Al Pacino,
Brando
Robert
isn't.
De Niro. Yeah, all right, the biggest one in literal size isn't, but... But do you guys know, before he died, Marlon Brando voiced, or recorded all the dialogue for, I should say, an animated film that, to this date, has still not been completed.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. What's it called?
Big Bug Man. And it was meant to be coming out between 2006, 2008, but it just kind of, news went quiet on it and doesn't look like it's ever going to happen. But it was going to be some kind of Spider-Man parody, I think, like a superhero thing. And the art style is utterly hideous. So I don't quite know what was going on with it, but I'm looking it up now. You know who top billed is?
Who?
Brendan Fraser. So it's going to be a Brendan Fraser vehicle with Marlon Brando in second build. Huh. And there's a big fat man on the poster. I'm assuming that would have been Marlon Brando's character.
The note that I see about this is Brando recorded the voice of Mrs. Sour a month before his death. He thought it would be fun to voice a girl for this project.
There's a woman who looks a bit like the Godfather with a wig on down at the...
This... this does not look like a good thing. The colouring is appalling.
Yeah, it's hideous.
The illustration
animation
style is, disgusting.
Oh, ding dong. Oh, it's female Marlon Brando superhero character. You come to me on the day of my son's wedding? Expecting some kind of favors. Well, it's interesting you're here, female Marlon Brando, because I think we might be doing a male counterpart. What? I think we're doing one of a film. What? Guys, what am I trying to say?
We're doing The Godfather in a few weeks.
Oh, great. The Godfather. Always the Godfather. Yeah. Never the Godmother. Never the God Lady. Never the Goddess Father. What the...
Yes.
Hey, guys, could you just pass me one of those orange slices for a minute, please?
Oh my god, it's a scary monster.
She's just put the orange peel in her mouth and she's pretending to be a scary, like, orange vampire or something. It's very amusing.
I'm gonna run away.
Somebody's
now.
gonna die. You want to be careful.
I wish she'd stop chasing me.
Thank you, as always, for listening. If you can't wait for more, then please do visit our website, dimreturns.com, where you can get all our back episodes and reviews and all sorts of other stuff. And if you're a loyal fan who's already listened to everything that we've done, then you'll just have to wait until next week, when we will have yet more James Bond references, as we are taking a look at Kingsman. And before you go, here's a little competition for you. I secretly recorded Saul going through his pre-show warm-up ritual, in which he was performing a one-man rendition of a popular film. All I want to know is, what film is Saul doing? If you think you know, then message us on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Diminishing Returns Podcast, and then we'll pick one winner at random and we'll send you a prize or something. Not sure what the prize might be, but I can absolutely assure you that it will have little to no financial value. Join in, it's fun. Here we go.
There's a guy who goes, as far back as I can remember, I wanted to be in the Mafia. And I went there, and then I saw Robert De Niro. Hey, it's me, Robert De Niro. You want to join the Mafia? Hey, let's go for a meal over here. Hey, what do you mean I'm fucking funny? I'm gonna smash your face in. Oh, whoa. I was just making a joke, see? It's all right. What do you fucking mean? I'm gonna fuck you up, you little... Hey, let's go visit one of our mothers. I forget which one, but it's Martin Scorsese's mother, and she's gonna cook us some spaghetti. What do you fucking mean, mother? Where's the fucking Parmesan cheese? We're gonna go bury a dead body or something. Hey, I've been arrested, but hey, even in prison, it's all good. In prison, it's all good. Hey, you know what? I'm the new man at the top. Come back next week for Casino.